Good morning and welcome back to my goal level. Well, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today we are cooking. This summer for some reason was the summer of tacos. Me and my boyfriend ate at this one taco spot that we really love almost every single day. Not every single day, probably like 3 times a week. And I never really liked corn tortillas growing up. I was always a lot more partial to flour tortillas. I just personally thought it tasted better. I don't know, I like the fluffiness, I guess, of flour tortillas. But with me being gluten-free, obviously I can't really have those. Gluten-free flour tortillas honestly just taste sad. So I spent the past year kind of training myself to like corn tortillas a lot more. And I found the taco restaurant that me and my boyfriend eat at. They use these white corn tortillas that are absolutely delicious. And so I started picking them up because I think me and my boyfriend were going to make our own tacos one day, and then that just kind of didn't happen. And so one night I was really hungry. I was also really sick. I think I glued myself or something, and I needed to eat a quick meal. And I was like, okay, like how would it taste maybe if I just made some breakfast tacos? And I ended up whipping up this recipe. All it is turkey kielbasa. I just personally prefer turkey kielbasa. I prefer turkey over beef in general. That is my preference. But turkey kielbasa, in my opinion, tastes really, really good. This one that I currently have, my dad took me and my boyfriend like grocery shopping as like a apartment housewarming gift, I guess. And so he convinced me to get like a bunch from Sam's and then like freeze them and thaw them out. And yeah, I wish I hadn't done that. Anywho, all this recipe requires are corn tortillas, some turkey kielbasa. I do 1 egg scrambled, a little bit of cheese. I prefer Kobe Jack, and some Valentina, which is my preferred Spanish hot sauce. I know some people like Cholula or I don't know other ones, but Valentina tastes the best in my opinion, and it's the best consistency. Before we do the eggs, let's put our tortillas in the toaster oven. This is a new thing that I'm able to do. When I was living at home with my mom and brother, that toaster oven was so covered in gluten that the idea of cooking anything in it was just not happening. Then when me and my boyfriend moved here, it took a while for us to pick one up. And when we did, this whole situation happened. Basically, we got the box, I unpacked it. Eventually, my dad came, so my boyfriend tossed the box. Well, as it turns out, in the box there were quite a few things that we needed. I didn't know that that was in the box. Obviously, I wouldn't have thrown the box out. Unfortunately, it was completely unusable without those elements. So I had to go to Target, explain to them that they were missing parts, even though it was in fact my fault, and that I needed to place a return. And they were like, okay, we can process for you. Where's the box? And I was like, I do not have the box. And they were like, okay, do you have the receipt? I was like, I do have the receipt. And so very unwillingly, they ended up processing my return. We were going to buy a new one that same night from Target. But then my boyfriend had a smart idea to look it up online and see if anywhere else was selling it cheaper. Someone was selling it almost $20 cheaper, and we ended up getting it from them. So yeah, that's my story. And these are my scrambled eggs. I like a very softly scrambled egg. I find it ends up like cooking to like the hardness level that I want, even if I just let it sit and do its thing. I like a nice fluffy egg, and I don't really like my egg to be too yolky. This was made so much better in the toaster oven than I could have ever done in the stove. That is a game changer. Okay, and our finishing bits are cheese and Valentina. Now typically, because I'm usually making this just for myself, I just put it together with my hands. I split the egg in half, line the egg right there, line the egg right there, boom. Now, to make the eggs a little bit tasty, I do season them with salt and pepper, but I don't go too crazy with the seasoning. So I always add the Valentina directly to the egg. Yeah. And then we split up our kielbasa, our very sad frozen defrosted kielbasa. Beautiful. Can't tell if you can see. And then last but not least, we sprinkle on some cheese. Now typically I would also have a coffee, but as you can hear in my voice, I think a coffee is the last thing that I should be drinking right now. So I will instead opt for water. And a little more cheese. And boom. This is our final breakfast tacos. I usually just do 2. I find this pretty fulfilling. I'll probably need a snack later, but 10 out of 10. I'm actually low-key hungry this morning, so I've added in some grapes. Typically, my coffee is like a protein coffee, and so I get a little bit more fuller. But 1, I'm sick. 2, I'm probably a little bit hungry because I haven't really been having an appetite while I've been sick, so I've been eating like 1 meal a day and maybe a snack. So I might cave and make a coffee. I know it's the last thing that I should be doing for my throat. Oh, fine. I won't make that coffee. I have a meeting in like, oh my gosh, my voice is not getting better. I have a meeting in like 5 minutes, so I'm going to snack on this Rice Krispie treat. It's actually really hard to find a gluten-free Rice Krispie treat. Now, should I be eating this for my throat? People say marshmallows are actually really good for sore throats, so that's my excuse. My meeting is done. My voice is even more gone, and I'm still hungry, so my second snack of the day will be chips and queso. I probably need to start incorporating lunch into my day of eating, like literally my day of eating, but we have snacks for now. Back for another cooking with Taylor. On today's menu, another thing that I probably should not be eating right now, but honestly, let's just be happy that I'm cooking. It's truly a shame how much I have eaten out for a while, and to be honest, not to blame anything on my boyfriend, but I definitely do eat out more when we're together, just because we don't necessarily eat the same, like eat in common, but the things that we do have in common are typically the things that we're eating out. So, but that being said, now that I'm trying to be a more responsible adult with my money, we are trying to make more of an effort to cook at home. I do actually enjoy cooking. It's not really anything that I dread. I know that some people don't love it. It definitely takes some getting used to, however. and I definitely make my share of mistakes. Like the last time I made this mac and cheese that I am about to be preparing, I somehow, some way, Lord knows, it turned into mashed potatoes. Now granted, and then we'll talk about this, I do have to make the mac and cheese a slightly different way just because I'm using gluten-free noodles, so they like cook slightly different. But in that cooking process, my pasta literally lost all of its integrity. It lost all of its integrity and turned into we're using a kind of a ladle type thing because I keep forgetting that I need to get, I feel like I had one this thing. If I was a wood spatula, where would I be? But now that I'm thinking about it, I 100% bought one. No wood spatula up there. Okay, that's only slightly concerning. I would definitely prefer to be using a wood spatula right now, but we'll rock with what we got. That's so odd that it literally has disappeared, but now that I think about it, I 100% bought one. I don't even know, like I said, I haven't really been cooking. So the last thing I made that would have required a wood spatula, I don't know, I think I probably accidentally threw it away. Okay, so this mac and cheese is actually pretty easy in my opinion. The first step is to just melt your butter, and then I don't really cook with real garlic, so I use garlic powder, and I'm just going to season my butter just a tiny bit with some garlic powder. But yeah, I do enjoy cooking. It definitely has been different since I've been gluten-free. Not necessarily more of a challenge, but I guess I just eat a bit more repetitively. Like, when I'm by myself, I can make myself just a mac and cheese, like, you know, full stop. Speaking of which, let's preheat our oven to 425. But I could just make a macaroni and cheese and eat on that for like 3, maybe 4 days max, and just make like broccoli to go with it. I'm not really that. It's like I am picky, but like the things that I like. Next up, we have our noodles. These are some gluten-free penne noodles from Aldi. I made a little bit more than half the bag. And then I am covering the noodles with water and adding some salt. Boom. Then we'll be keeping our eye on this. You only really need enough water for like the noodles to like kind of be covered with water, because I let the noodles like soak up all the water. Gluten-free pasta doesn't have like the same starchy qualities, I guess, of regular pasta, so like I have to like make the starch myself almost. I don't know how to explain it, but this is the best way that I found. It kind of like turned into a roux of sorts without me having to make it myself. Honestly, this is a hot take, but now that I like have to eat gluten-free, I low-key get, I would say, annoyed. I get annoyed with people who like do it as like a diet sort of situation. I felt like such a privilege to me to think of like choosing to eat gluten, because like for dietary things, like I would be so much of a healthier person if I could eat gluten. Like there's so much missing in my food. If you didn't know, especially in bread, like regular wheat flour bread is enriched with a lot of vitamins and things like that gluten-free bread is not enriched with, or like pasta and stuff like that. So obviously, like, you know, these things are carbs, so I understand wanting to like scale back on it, but like I would never choose to be gluten-free. I mean, at this point it doesn't really make me sad. I think I maybe posted a video recently talking about how frustrating it can be, and it definitely can be very frustrating, and I have my days where I just sort of feel like an inconvenience or like that sort of situation, but for the most part I just kind of think of it as like an it is what it is type of situation. Maybe one day, because it happens so randomly, maybe one day it'll go away and I can eat gluten again, but I don't really count on it. Okay, so while this slowly gets to about al dente and the water starts cooking off, I'm going to add my milk. Oh, you can't see much. Now that I'm not filming. Okay, I just added some Kobe Jack. We're getting that nice macaroni and cheese sound. I want to add just a bit more milk because we still have to add cheddar. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this is a really good gluten-free pasta. Like with all the stirring I'm doing, and I'm definitely not using the most ideal spoon to do it, or cooking utensil for that matter to do it. This is actually keeping it shape. Good job, buddy. Now let's add some mild cheddar cheese. Alright, adding a pretty fair amount of cheddar. Gotta make sure that we have some to add to the top. Mix that up. I definitely could have used a slightly bigger pan, like the actual saucepan, and not just a traditional frying pan, but you live and you learn. Okay, this base is looking real good. Now the one thing I didn't add that I do typically add is a little bit of spice. And I think that's what we're currently missing. Chili powder will have to suffice. And let's do a little bit of paprika. I'm definitely a spicy girl. I've always loved spice. Very great. Let's taste our sauce once again. Is there anything that's missing? Maybe let's do a little bit more seasoning salt. And then we're calling it a day. I do not want to ruin this. Okay, we'll do some cracked black pepper. I think it's just missing that. And let's just grab a bite. Wow, that is good. Now it is time for one of the most important parts. Let's do the transfer. Now I started following this girl named Tina on TikTok, and she did something that I really like that I'm going to do right now. She scooped out about half of her macaroni and cheese. She like spread it on the bottom. She took her cheese and she sprinkled a layer just so that there's something, a little bit of extra cheesiness when you scoop in. I'm going to take a little bit of both the Kobe Jack and the cheddar. Then we're going to grab the rest So good. And let's cover. So how do I want to layer this? I think I want to layer it cheddar, Kobe, and then finish off with a little bit more cheddar. So cheddar. Oh, I didn't sprinkle any pepper on this one. Start off with pepper, then cheddar, then Kobe, the star of the show is definitely cheddar cheese, Kobe, and finish it off with a little bit more cheddar. Gotta make sure you get those corners. So this is what I will be putting in the oven, probably for about 20-ish minutes. Really just until it gets nice and brown on top. Timer on for 20 minutes since I've never made anything in this kitchen. And yeah, that's pretty much the process. I think I'll also be making broccoli, and then my boyfriend will be making steak, but I'll show you guys the mac and cheese when it's out. Okay, here's my final macaroni and cheese. It looks so good. Usually I would just sprinkle it with a little bit of parsley, and then that is all. Okay, I'll show you my plate and then let's eat. And here's the finished meal. Steak by my wonderful boyfriend, broccoli and macaroni and cheese by me. If you're not cooking your broccoli in the air fryer, you're missing out. My boyfriend, a certified macaroni and cheese hater, just said, "This looks fire. I can't even cap to you," speaking to my macaroni and cheese. So that's all I want to say. I would just want to get my bite on camera. It's still quite warm. Oh my god. That was honestly one of the best meals I've ever had in my life, and that was also probably one of the best mac and cheeses I've ever made in my life. I think it's because I cooked the noodles honestly to the perfect amount. Like, they were literally al dente, and then they like cooked a little bit more when I put it in the oven, so that they came out perfect, and they just tasted really good. And then my boyfriend's steak was really good. The broccoli was really good. Anyways, to close out the night, I will have some more grapes and a piece of chocolate, even though this is the last thing I should be eating because my throat still hurts. Anywho, that was a pretty typical eating day in my life, except not at all, because I would typically be eating Chipotle or something, but hopefully cooking is my new normal. Well, see you in the next Vlogmas.